What's up, guys? Jenny's back.
Co-host.
Co-host. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Dr. Jazz Roemer. I'm here with Dr. Anna Valderrama and Ramtin Dehkhoda. We are part of San Diego Herbal Medicine and Acupuncture. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube later, we welcome you as well. So we're here today. This is part 4 of a web series that we've been doing on TCM and at-home remedies that you can use. We like to use Chinese medicine to encompass what we can do at home during this time of the lockdown, where things are very uncertain at this time. We like to have the consistency of the medicine that we can bring into our homes and help us navigate what's going on right now. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Anna Valderrama, and she's going to discuss a little bit about what's going on for her. So go ahead, Anna.
Hi, Dr. Anna here. This week, Dr. Jess called me and said, "Hey, do you want to talk?" And I had some time, and I'm like, "Yeah." And she asked, "What would you like to talk about?" And I said, "Gratitude." All of a sudden, gratitude popped in my mind, and we talked briefly. And then after that, I started thinking about why gratitude. Why did that pop in my mind? And one thing that I have been noticing, I've been treating a little bit throughout the whole COVID. I never quit completely. I was doing treatments for people the ones that really need it at that moment. And this is something that also has been building up as I have been practicing, a pattern that I notice in treatment outcome for patients, and noticing like sometimes you can kind of predict a little bit of outcome based on how people deal with situations. And one thing that stands to me is like the positive thinking and gratitude is a big. And then I thought, like, why is that so positive? And I'm going to develop a little bit later on gratitude, but I just started like going backwards a little bit. Why would that be? And then I started thinking about fear and this whole COVID-19. There's a lot of fear. Why does fear happen? Because we're not certain about something. I started thinking like, yeah, because if we are like there are certain things that we don't fear because we know what's happening. The moment that we start like questioning why or what's going to happen, and this whole COVID-19 is about we not knowing anything. We don't know exactly how to treat. We don't know exactly how to prevent. We don't know exactly when we're going to find solutions, or we don't know if it's better or not to use mask or to lock. Like people have mixed feelings about anything, and this builds up and create more fear and more uncertainty. And that's where like positive thinking and gratitude, I started noticing that the patients that would come for me that had something positive to grab onto, they were they could be been going through difficult times with whether it would be like financial, or they are at risk, they are like they consider themselves risk group or something, but somehow they were able to mentally stay in a state of more like positive thinking and stronger state. And the ones that would only focus on the uncertainty were the ones that were suffering the most mental emotionally. So it's almost like I started thinking like it's kind of like driving on the freeway. We're not 100% safe. You never know when you're going to get in a car accident. If you look at the numbers, how many people die in car accidents every year, it's horrendous. However, we don't leave the house every single day thinking about like I could die going to work today. We rarely think. Some people do and they have issues with driving, but majority of people, we just go into our car and we go to work and we go to the mall and we do things and we are not afraid. Why is that? Because we have procedures in place that create more like we grab on the positive things that we have about driving. If you have a safe car, if you use your seatbelt, if you drive on the speed limit, there are limits to things that make us believe that we are safer and it's okay even though there is risk. So we grab on, it's like a safety blanket for a kid. Sometimes the kid has a little, if you guys have kids or you have kids around you, you know that they have to have like a little bear or a little blanket that they carry everywhere with them. That's the only concrete thing that they know. So if there is monsters underneath the bed or not, they don't know, but they know their security blanket is with them and they are safe. So we don't know if we're going to die in the freeway, but we have a seatbelt, we have a safe car, we have speed limits, we have rules that people should not drink and drive. And when we think about those security process, we're fine. We're able to go along. So I think with the COVID, it's the same thing with the situation. We can't focus so much on what we don't know. We don't know when we're going to be able to go back to our normal lives. We don't know. We don't know if the virus is going to go away in a year and a half. We don't know. We don't know if we're going to have a vaccine. But we do know what we have. And if we focus on something, is it our kids, or you blessed because you have a house to be on, safe, and you have a backyard, or your job, you didn't lose your job and you are still able to make it at home and financially stable. If you believe that your health it's strong and you've been working on your health, and this is something positive for you to think. If you have a loved one that lives with you and you are not alone, it's a matter of looking for something that you can be grateful for. And that's where gratitude comes from. Because even though you are going through tough times, when you start like, okay, you look at the things that are negative, but then you are able to shift and like, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my spouse being with me. I'm grateful that I have wonderful kids. I'm grateful that I have a house. So when you start focusing on the positive, you shift your mind and you feel more confident and you feel stronger, and you feel it changes the whole way how you perceive things. And then I came up like, okay, so that's why gratitude is so important. That's why, like, I see people that are like navigating this whole storm in a more peaceful way are the ones that are being able to, like, yes, there is this negative side, but there is this one that I'm very grateful for. So this is what I wanted to say.
Great. Thank you, Anna. That was wonderful wisdom. So yeah, take that to note and take it to heart and see if you can find something to be grateful with or in your life today. So thank you, Anna, for that. We appreciate that.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So that reminded me, I was part of a class earlier this morning, and we were talking about the liver and the wood element. Right now it's springtime, which I talked about in the last presentation. And one of the things that the instructor was talking about today is, you know, in order for wood to grow, which is the liver element, it needs sunshine, right? And so we need to be out in nature. And part of wood also growing efficiently and effectively is to prune off the things that no longer serve us. And so I've been thinking about a lot of that today, and I feel like that really resonates with what you were talking about, is that in order for a plant or a tree or whatever to be more successful, sometimes we have to get rid of the dead parts, the parts that no longer serve the growth. And so we can grow through these difficult times instead of just trying to deal with them, right? So how can you get rid of the things that no longer serve you so you can become more successful in your life and in your world? And I just think that that ties in really nicely with what you were saying. So thank you so much, Dr. Anna. And we're going to move on to Ramtin Dehkhoda, and he's going to share with us about one of the herbs that can be used at home and applied during this time. Take it away, Ram.
Let me take this off me. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Anna and Jazz. Oh, I love the part about getting rid of the dead branches. I loved hearing that. That's a great analogy, and I've been doing that. Actually cleared out the whole clinic the other day. So guys, last two times we were talking about herbs that affect the psyche, that affect the Chinese medicine, the Hun, the Shen. So that kind of translates to the psyche, but also the emotional aspect. But one of the things that I want to talk about today is not just the psychological and the behavioral changes that we can make. Sometimes things are physiological. You don't have the right chemicals in your brain. You don't have the right, the correct functioning, the upright chi. You don't have the proper functioning of a certain system that is affecting the psyche, that is affecting the Shen, the Hun, right? So to give you guys an example, the grief affects the lungs. We know this in Chinese medicine. And I find this clinically to be true because almost straight across the board, anytime I have a patient who's lost somebody. They come down with this very, very severe cough. They get sick and they get a cough. It's across the board. And I didn't really, we always read about these things, you know, as we're studying, but it's amazing to see it in practice. So we know that the body and the spirit and the mind are all tied in together, and they have to be in balance for to be healthy and to prevent disease. So I've been talking about herbs. The last two different classes that we had, I was talking about Shirchangku and Yuanzhi and clearing up the synapses in the brain and getting rid of the phlegm and allowing for really good mental health, focus, concentration, and so forth. And one of the, I would like to talk today about Hongjing Tian and the amazing herb. And I just found out that it's rhodiola. I had no idea it was rhodiola. So rhodiola is a big thing right now, but I've been using this herb regularly, and I'd like to talk about that. Hey guys, why don't you grab the Hongjing Tian for me? And I'd like to show it to you guys too. So let's dive right in and talk about Hongjing Tian and some of the characteristics of this herb, and then also let's talk about how you can take this herb at home. So in Chinese medicine, this herb is used to clear heat. Too much heat in the body is a pathogen. But here, oh, excellent, thank you. Here's some of the functions of Hongjing Tian. Hongjing Tian is used to to tonify the qi and mostly of the digestive system. The last couple classes we talked about the importance of the digestive system with mental health. And this is one of the great herbs that really focuses on the digestive system, correcting the qi there so we could have better mental health. One of the other things this herb does is clears heat in the lungs and nourishes the yin, the fluids of the lung, which is really good to know for this time for people who are getting COVID, and it relieves cough. So that's commonly used for that. Other than that, it invigorates the blood, similar to like what an aspirin would do, but that's not so much the focus of this herb. What I want to get into is some of the recent studies about the herb and what we've learned using Western studies of rhodiola. And I'll just give you a little bit snippets here. Athletes love this formula, and Phil, I know you're gonna like this. It's definitely used to enhance the natural resistance of the body for both physical and behavioral stress. So it's a really big fatigue fighting herb. And along with that, it uplifts mood and gets rid of depression. So, I mean, who wouldn't want that? Better athletic performance and a better mood, right? And we know these are tied in together. Other findings, and I'm not going to go into too much of the scientific detail, but it is an anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, immunostimulating. It repairs your DNA. It's anti-cancer effects. It's actually known to be a major anti-cancer herb. Its extracts inhibit the mTOR pathways to reduce angiogenesis. So we know it's good for the prevention and the treatment of cancer, and these are scientifically proven. So long story short, amazing herb and amazing herb. And like I always mention, I don't like to use this single herb. Ask your herbalist to write you a formula because they could modify that formula specifically for your needs. You could always make an appointment with us at San Diego Herbal Medicine for herbal consultation. We could do it online. But if you're going to take it as a single herb, a fun way of doing it, for those of you who are at home, we could ship you the herbs if you need it. You could buy it online. I recommend getting the raw herbs. They look like this, if you can see. Let me take one out. It's a beautiful herb. I'm actually drinking some right now, and it's very, very fragrant and aromatic. Let's see if you guys can. Can you guys see? It's a beauty. It's red. That's why it means Hong, red herb. So basically, you can grab this herb, and you could soak it in alcohol. And you can make a tincture out of it and take it that way. That's one way to take it at home. You can take it regularly. You can also make a wine out of it. Go online, you can look at some of those recipes. So you can make a nice wine out of it, and for your consumption at home. Those aren't the ways I recommend it, but that's fun. And it's also good for fighting pain in the form of the wine. So you can have fun with it and make wine. I like to add this formula right now because it's such a strong chi tonic also. I like to add this formula for its properties affecting the lungs right now as I'm treating my COVID patients. So it really helps with the wheezing. Most of my patients who are sick and have COVID or have pneumonia and these things, there's always a depression element also that takes place as we're sick. So it really does help with that. And to finish off, there's one other part I wanted to share with you guys. See if I can pull it up. Nope, I closed my window. Anyways, it goes on and on. Rhodiola, there's pages on pages, books on books written on this herb. But I'll leave you guys with that. And I want to reiterate that if you're going to be taking herbs, try not to self-diagnose. It is very complex, and it is really important to have somebody write you a formula based on your needs. I just drank rhodiola by itself today, and it's giving me a headache. And we know this. I'm an herbalist. I should know better. I should have added other herbs because I run all these different things. I didn't balance it, but I definitely feel the psychoaffective elements of it, which is really interesting. Do you guys have any questions? I could answer them now, or Jazz, if you'd like, we could wait till after your segment. How do you feel about that, Jazz?
Yeah, if there's any questions right now, we can address those. Otherwise, I was going to jump into my portion. You guys good?
I just want to add something. I don't know if you said or not, maybe I missed, but it's also anti-hypoxia, the rhodiola. So which is perfect for like the COVID treatment and what's happening with.
Can you explain what that means?
Like hypoxia is one of the things that is happening to COVID patients where there's lack of oxygenation in the blood because of the ACE inhibitors in the lungs. So that's why you're seeing like the blue fingers and also it's causing a lot of blood stagnation, and this herb is also amazing for blood stagnation. So people are having symptoms such as like like a lot of bruises in their toes, and that is due to lack of oxygen causing blood stagnation in the body, and this herb addresses both issues, like lack of oxygenation and also like blood moving. So
thank you for bringing that up, Anna. And again, it goes right to the lungs. So that's one of the functions that it will enhance. And I like to use cordyceps for that function. Cordyceps are known to increase oxygen levels in your blood.
Yeah.
So formulas that I'm writing for post-COVID or even during it, lots of cordyceps and this particular herb.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I put cordyceps in my coffee every day.
Oh, nice.
Help my immune system and boost the lungs. And that's a nice thing that I often share with my patients too, is, if you have trouble finding time to take herbs, put them in your coffee. If you're going to drink coffee or your tea, and just combine the forces. And it's hot anyway, and it tastes good. So that actually ties into what I was going to talk about is goji berries. So if you guys saw the flyer, I put that on the cover of the flyer. So goji berries are also good for a cough and for what we call wasting and thirsting disorder. So if you're really deficient and depleted, goji berries are a great thing that you can take as a single herb because they're also food as medicine, which is a really great way to also help heal your body, is to use food as medicine. And so goji berries, you can get them at Whole Foods or Sprouts or whatever, but we also sell them at our herbal pharmacy as well. That's a great thing that you can add to your oatmeal, something you can soak overnight because they usually come dried. So if you soak them overnight, by the next day, they'll be nice and plump and moist, and they'll taste like a fruit. So goji berries are another great thing that you can add, and it also supports the liver. So it helps with like the liver blood and gives you kind of that energy that you might be lacking. And it's a really great way to just use food as medicine and integrate that into your home. I'm sure you could find it online as well. but we prefer if you buy it from us through my herb farm. Yeah, so that would be another addition that I would suggest. I don't have any with me. I don't know if you can grab some really quick, Ram, and show people what goji berries are, but that's another great addition. I see a question here. Does coffee not negate the effects of herbs? I have not heard of it doing that. I think it can enhance it, if anything, right? So you got like that caffeine out of getting things flowing. I'm not sure if it works in the same way of alcohol with absorption, but I find it still to be effective personally. I don't know what you guys think about coffee and herbs.
So coffee is I would consider it a tea tonic.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're deficient in blood or if you're deficient in yin, I wouldn't recommend drinking a lot of coffee because you don't have any substance to use to create qi. So you start getting more and more deficient. So that's why you get more dehydrated and dry from drinking coffee. So if you're deficient, coffee is not going to be that good for you. But if you're not deficient and you're using coffee as a qi tonic to tonify qi, I don't see a problem with that at all. By the way, here is goji berries. You guys see that?
Yes, nice.
I love these guys. Goji berries are amazing. One of my professors, Chinese professors, asked if there was one herb I could take every day. Well, what would it be? And she said goji berries. Dr. Yuan Wang.
Nice.
Yeah, so she was like, goji berries, that's what I take. This herb is amazing. It benefits the eyes, it benefits the liver, it tonifies blood. It's got effects on the spirit. It's just an amazing herb. And it's a fruit and it tastes good. That's one of those herbs you could really easily, I eat it by the handfuls. Like you can mix it with a bag of nuts or, assortment of nuts and other dried fruits. It's easy to mix in there.
Anna, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, maybe we can, if you are with the herbs, when someone asks about the herbs, if the person is gonna drink coffee anyway, half an hour before or after the herbs, then it might as well combine, like you said, is one last thing, right? Because you were suggesting that for people that already have the habit of taking coffee, and you're not gonna say, well, stop your coffee because now you're taking herbs. So the combination, I wouldn't assume that it's gonna affect. And then with the goji, like in coffee, it's interesting because I love coffee and I am yin deficient.
Yeah.
So, but I love the taste and I drink 2 espressos a day. Maybe I should put some goji in my coffee just to mitigate the yin.
That'd be horrible. I don't know how that would go with coffee.
Are they gonna counteract each other or just like giving more yin with my coffee?
Just eat those gojis. They're good. I like the way Jazz does it because some of those powders, they all taste the same. They also are a little bit bitter, and the coffee really masks. You can't tell what the coffee is.
Yeah.
Where the coffee ends and where the herb starts. So that's that one good way of.
And just a reminder that goji is a nightshade. So if people are sensitive to nightshades, they should stay away from it. Yeah.
That's a good note to add. Thank you. All right, so I just had one last thing that I wanted to share, and I've talked about it in previous events like this, is always coming back to your breath. And that's a thing that you can do, again, at home, because we're breathing every moment anyway, is to work on seeing how you can expand your breath in all directions in your body. So I'm just going to repeat what I said in a previous one because I think it's important and it applies to what we're talking about. Is in order to get all that qi flow to your brain, in order for you to have the circulation of the blood in the body, is we need breath to move that. Our breath creates that circulation. And we often find ourselves, especially here sitting at a computer, we're probably not moving as much as we did before, because a lot of people are doing just shallow breathing in the chest, but breath expands in all directions. And so I really want you this week to think about how you can use your breath to move through difficult moments, how you can use your breath to help you create space, not only in your mind, but in your body. And thinking about that expansion happening both out in all directions, up and down, north, south, east, west, and using your breath as that gateway to transform your body. So if you're ever feeling stuck, if you're ever feeling overwhelmed, just come back to the breath. It's in every yoga, every meditation, every Qigong, they always talk about breath. And that's something we talk about as acupuncturists as well, is how important it is to have breath to get that external qi into our body, because what we breathe in also fuels us. And so if we're not getting proper breath, if we're not getting proper oxygen, then our cells can't function. And that's often where the disharmonies and disruptions happen in our bodies. So just a final reminder to always breathe. And that's all I have for you guys today. So we're going to open it up to questions right now. If there's any questions about anything we discussed today or in previous web series, let us know. All right. Deborah?
I was eating, so I muted myself and muted my video. I wanted to ask you, what is a cordyceps and how to use that? You said you put it in your coffee. I'm not familiar with that. What is that?
Yeah, so cordyceps is an herb that we use. And I think Ram is grabbing it off the shelf right now.
Here's a bottle of it. You can buy different ones. This is pharmaceutical grade. This one's actually about $400 for that bottle, but you can get cordyceps powders like online that are not this high grade of pharmaceutical. This is Tibetan cordyceps, but it can get very expensive. But you could order it online as a powder, and you can even get it from Amazon. I recommend getting a powder instead of getting the actual herbs themselves, because they're hard to keep, and they can go bad, and they're extremely expensive, and you'd have to boil them to drink them. It's a little bit more laborious, and your people who end up buying the raw end up not taking as much because the compliance goes down because it's so hard to prepare every day. So the powders are really good, but yeah, it just comes in a bottle, and you just take a scoop, and based on the instructions on the concentrations, and you can just add it to water. I like cordyceps. Actually tastes pretty good. It tastes like between chocolate and coffee to me. And you could make a drink out of it. You could add some honey, and you could add a little bit of creamer to it if you like, and make it a drink. Or you could just add it and take it like a shot with water. I always recommend a little bit warm or hot water to take herbs. It helps with absorption.
Mm-hmm. So I'll put a link in the YouTube video after this of which brand I like to get, and it's on Amazon. Sorry, I'm right by the airplanes here.
And what they're for, and you didn't really mention like what they're for.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
Chi tonic or.
Yep, it's a chi tonic, and it helps the lungs and the immune system. And it's actually a fungus. And so there's a really cool the BBC video, you guys know what I'm talking about, where it shows how they harvest the cordyceps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fungus that gets into the brains of insects, and it kind of explodes out of their heads. I mean, it's pretty interesting herb that we use, but it's a fungus. And what do they call it? The zombie insects?
Zombie.
Yep. But it's a fungus that overtakes the brains of insects.
I use it mostly personally, and in my practice, I use it for energy, but it's to increase oxygen in the blood. And then
so it helps the COVID situation.
Yeah, definitely. Not for the treatment of, but for
prevention.
For the symptoms associated with it, and for recovery. You could also use it for prevention. But for me, a lot of my athletes, they use it for performance because athletic performance is one thing, but the immune system goes through the roof when we have better oxygenation. A lot of the body's physiological activities are dependent on proper oxygen. So oxygen goes a long way. So I think that's one of the key factors that I like about cordyceps.
And it's an adaptogenic herb, which means that it's very good to regulate stress. So physical, that's why athletes use, but also mental stress.
Mm-hmm.
I love that herb.
Yeah, it's a good herb. All right,
well,
good question.
Every time I teach, I'm like, I want to take that herb.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Any other questions?
Are you treating COVID patients? I mean, how does that work? Safely.
I've got about 14 right now, and I'm treating them remotely. And so what I do is I do a full intake, There are a lot of them are following the same patterns, but there's some variances. So depending on what stage they're in, I write them a different formula. So it's about a 30-minute consultation that I do via Zoom, and we ship them the formulas. Really, really good success so far. I've only had maybe 1 or 2 patients start getting really severe signs, and then those also dissipated when we changed the formulas. We went to the heavy hitters. Yeah, they're harsher herbs, but they're a lot stronger antivirals. Very bitter. So if you're an acupuncturist out there, herbalist out there, Peilon, Banlangen, a lot of Jin Yin Hua, clear heat toxicity herbs, Lian Qiao, Jin Yin Hua, and Guanzhong, things like that that I'm using. It's very bitter, but yeah. So that's how I'm seeing patients. We're not seeing them personally. Anybody else?
All right. If there's no other questions, then do you guys have any final thoughts about what we discussed today, Dr. Anna or Ram?
I think we covered everything.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you all for being here today. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you, Dr. Anna, for being our featured presenter today. And again, we'll be doing this next Friday at 1 p.m. For about 30 minutes. I know we went over today, but thank you for staying with us. Thank you all for attending. And again, we love to share with the community. We love to, gift the wisdom of Chinese medicine to all those who are listening into us. So we are San Diego Herbal Medicine and Acupuncture. We're in the Hillcrest Baker Hills area of San Diego. And if you have any questions, please click on the link below, send us an email, give us a call. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye guys.